Hi, this is Marsha.
And this is Kelly.
We are the 2U's of 2U's Fiber Adventures. Thanks for stopping by.
You'll hear about knitting, spinning, dyeing, crocheting, and just about anything else we can think of as a way to play with string.
We blog and post show notes at 2usfiberadventures.com.
And we invite you to join our 2U's Fiber Adventures group on Ravelry. I'm 100 Projects.
And I am Better in Motion.
We're both on Instagram and Ravelry, and we look forward to meeting you there.
Enjoy the episode. Hi, Kelly.
Hi, Marsha. How are you doing?
I am doing well.
It's earlier than usual for us.
It's too early to be drinking.
I know. Bummer. No. Too late for coffee. Too late for coffee. Yeah. I'm done. I've had my morning coffee already. Yeah. And too early for a beer or a glass of wine.
Right.
So, yeah. Well,
we're in between.
Yeah. We had a little bit of scheduling difficulties.
Yeah. So we had, I think we announced in the last episode that this episode we were going to record live in Zoom. Mm-hmm. But it's just, there's too much going on between your schedule and teaching and my schedule and cleaning and a vet appointment and, well,
a grooming appointment.
Yes, fortunately, a grooming appointment. Not for me, even though I do need a grooming appointment, but poor Enzo is so shaggy, and for Mother's Day, Ben took me on a hike. That was my Mother's Day gift. We didn't do it Sunday of Mother's Day because it was a nice day, and we thought so many people would be on the trail just for safety. Yeah. We decided to go on Monday, and there was maybe 3 people we passed, so not very many people. But it was still very warm, and he was very, very hot. This is the shaggiest he's been, I think he's ever been, and I can tell he's uncomfortable. And you can't see his eyes, and his muzzles. Probably the hair on it is probably 1.5 inches long. Maybe that's an exaggeration. Probably 1 inch.
I like the shaggy look, but yeah, it's messy.
It's very messy, and he's just hot too. Because it's. We had a couple of days in the mid 80s, and now we're just down to 60. But it's uncomfortable, and I'm also getting concerned. Even though I've been brushing him a lot, really trying to keep mats out. I think he's getting some mats. And that's not good.
It's hard with a poodle for them not to have mats just because of the way their hair grows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, we apologize to people if they really wanted to join us for the live recording, but it just didn't work out.
Yeah.
So
once school is out, it'll make it a little bit easier to do that, because I'm in the ramp up to finals week, so trying to get all the, and I'm only teaching the 2 classes, so getting ready for the finals is work. I'm not saying it isn't, but there's also, like, I wish that the pandemic and this move to online teaching had meant that everything else just stopped. Like committee work stopped, all the other projects that were going on, just like, let's just put a pause button on them. But no. and partly that's because, there are other people who aren't teachers. That's their work, right? I mean, administrators are doing their things that need some of this committee work to happen before they can do it. And so it's not like the whole rest of the college can just press the pause button while the faculty have an easier semester. So it's just been really like, oh my God. And then I couldn't believe it. Like adding insult to injury, I got a notice that we have to renew our sexual harassment training and our...
Now?
I know.
Nobody's together. How can they harass anybody? I'm sorry.
Well, and then
it's just absurd.
And then we have I think it's every 2-year schedule where we have to do this sexual harassment training, and then it's like 2 hours, and then we have to do a 1 hour or something mandated reporter training, because we're it's kind of weird because we're mandated reporters for minors, but you don't really know who in your class is a minor and who isn't. Like a student can graduate from high school and be, and you know, still be under 18, be a freshman in college and still be under 18. And then sometimes we have what they call concurrent enrollment students. So it's a high school student who's taking a class at the community college. But I have no idea who those people are.
Right.
It's good training. It's probably, you know, it probably saves people from abuse to have this mandated reporter training. It's good information. But again, it's like an hour of training on at this time? Really? So they did move the deadline to like June 30th instead of the, you know, it was like, the deadline was like May 15th. Like right before finals start, you want us to do this training now, this semester? So, but, you know, some things can't be postponed, you know?
It's probably mandated by law, right? That you have to, or I mean, not law, that's not the right word, but it's mandated that you have to have this done.
Yeah, they have policies that say we have to do it every 2 years. So this is the year, you know?
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's just kind of weird. You think, you know, you wish everything could just be put on pause because of this, but everything but essential services could be put on pause, but what is essential to some people is not so essential to others. I could do without a lot of it. Oh my gosh, but they're not asking me. So on another subject, the talk about food last week got a lot of response from people. There's a whole discussion now going on about old-fashioned food with canned soup.
Yes, and apparently I came across as a bit of a snob regarding canned salmon. So I'm going to have to get a can of salmon and see what I can make out of this. Yes, apparently I came across as a food snob, so I apologize for being a food snob. But I'm laughing. I'm not offended in any way, shape, or form by this.
Well, and I know that I'm like the opposite of a food snob because my favorite foods, I always joke that my favorite foods are all soggy carbohydrates. Tuna casserole, enchiladas.
Well, somebody said, I read in the forum, I think it was Amy Greenhook, said that she had a craving for tuna casserole and she's never made tuna casserole before.
Yes.
Maybe I caused that. I don't know.
Well, it was funny because it made people think about a lot of the kind of old-fashioned foods. Yeah. We should call them vintage foods.
Vintage foods.
So it made me reminded me of the tater tot casserole that I had at my ex-brother-in-law's house that one year, and then that reminded me of a casserole that Aunt Betty used to make with frozen hash browns and cream of mushroom soup and chicken and sour cream, I think. Anyway, such fun.
Yeah. Well, I still have made, remember I said in the last episode I was going to make the green rice from my great aunt's cookbook. I've not done that because I don't have the ingredients for it and I've not been to the grocery store. So I'm due to go and I will.
Oh, cool.
I promise I will make it before the next episode. And I might even make a tuna casserole.
We always have tuna in the cupboard and
yeah.
Tuna casserole at least once a month. And if I'm having a bad week or a busy week, I can pretty much count on having tuna casserole or hamburger slop or Swiss steak with mashed potatoes. Because Aunt Betty's really good about providing me with comfort food when she notices that I need it. So
yeah. To offset the alcohol consumption.
That's right.
Or absorb it. I don't know.
That's right. Exactly. Oh, well, on that note, Marsha, shall we start talking about knitting?
Yes. And first of all, I'm just going to say, too, what's going on at my house.
Oh, okay.
My brother is here. I'm upstairs in my bedroom at my desk recording, and he's in the guest bedroom across the hallway. He's in the closet. Put him in the closet. He's painting.
Oh, nice.
So just what's going on is my friend Kim, that I travel with, she's getting ready for a kitchen remodel, and so she's going to be staying with me for a little bit while her house is torn up. And I found out more about why she wants to stay here, is why she has to leave her house. Is they're basically, even though they're focusing on the kitchen, they have to go. She's having a little bit of work done in the bathroom and some stuff done in her bedroom, and so there's really no place that she can go in the house.
No living space.
She has a tiny house, so she's going to stay with me for a bit while this remodel is underway. And so the closet project started because you go into the closet, and then there's another little door that goes into a storage space under the eaves. And we have all of my son's old train board stuff, his Lionel train and whatnot. Well, it's actually ours, my brother's and mine from our childhood is in there. And there was a piece that went to the train that I asked my brother if he could just help me get it in there because I had to move the printer and whatnot. And so we did that. And then he said, I think I'm going to paint the closet. So everything came out of the closet. So he is next door painting. So if there's he said he's going to try and be quiet, but if there's any noise, that's what's going on.
Okay.
I'm having my own remodeling going on.
Well, that's nice. It's kind of like when you come visit and things get done here.
Yeah.
Put little touches that you might have not even thought of doing, or that you've been meaning to do and haven't gotten to. So. Well,
and then the other issue is there's a window in the closet that doesn't shut all the way, and so we had jerry rigged like a rope. Was tied to the to something stable to hold the window shut, because otherwise it would blow open with the wind.
Oh yeah.
And so he's actually removed the window, taken the hinges off and removed the window so he can paint the window properly. Because now also, because it has been exposed a little bit to the elements, the inside paint is damaged. So he's gonna do it the right way, and he's taken the hinges off and soaking those in TSP to get the paint off the hardware, and so that we can actually close it the right way instead of jerry rigging a method of, I think Kim will appreciate the effort that's gone into this, so she'll have a real working closet, that
that's
the
nice.
wind doesn't blow open the window and whatnot. So anyway, okay, projects, let's move on.
Okay.
Do you want to go first?
Sure.
Or?
Yeah, I can go first.
Okay.
Right now, as we speak, working on my Babydoll Southdown socks, and I'm actually not really enjoying them as much as I thought I would. I think the yarn is fingering weight. I think. I mean, it mostly is fingering weight, but it's working up really stiff. I'm using size 0 needles, and so it might just be that the yarn is a little bigger than fingering weight, and then the size 0 needles are a little small, and it's kind of a coarser yarn. It has more of the feel of like an opal or a regia or a, one of those not so soft sock yarns. So it's a sturdy feel. It's a down breed, so it's not the softest yarn, and has a lot of bounce to it, but it's a little crunchy, and the combination of the crunchiness of the yarn and maybe the stitch pattern I chose and the small needles is just making the fabric feel really stiff to me, like they stand up by themselves, which is good. It's it's good for a sock to do that. I wonder, let me just get the Well, with the full top of the sock in the finished one, I can't get it to stand. Well, if I hold the foot, the leg of the sock stands up by itself.
Oh.
Which is...
That's stiff.
It's stiff, yeah. So I think it's good because this is 100% wool. It's not got any nylon or mohair or silk or anything in it for strengthening. So they'll be, I think, long-lasting socks. I don't think they'll wear out fast. So that's nice. That 3 plies, tight gauge, kind of coarser fiber. All those 3 things come together to make it actually a really useful sock yarn. But I don't know. I'm in the mood to knit something softer and looser and nicer, I think. So yeah. I'm gonna have to get something else on the needles, or maybe just finish these and then I need to have I have to finish the Sunny Bono jacket, and I need to rip my tee out. I haven't done that yet, just because I think I'm just gonna have to rewind the yarn. There's logistics to ripping this out that I think what I'm gonna do is rewind the ball from the outside, because I'm pulling it from the inside to knit with it. I think I'm gonna rewind the ball from the outside onto the ball winder. This is kind of a tangent, but rewind the ball of that yarn for the sweater from the outside onto the ball winder. So unwind the ball that I have onto a new cake, and then start ripping and winding onto the ball winder as I rip it out. But it's alternating, so that's not going to work very well because I have 2 balls of yarn and I only have 1 ball winder. So maybe I'll have to wind the balls by hand. Anyway, there's some logistics to that, which means I haven't even started thinking about it. So those are still in the list, but other than that, I really don't have anything going. Those 2. I feel like having a cast on party, like just casting on wildly bunches of things. So I have stuff, sitting waiting for me to go. So, but that's gonna have to wait. I think
you should cast on the Summer Fjord.
I know I should, yeah.
Because that's what I'm doing. Remember, we were going to have a knit along, and I just started.
Yeah, we were going to start.
So catch up, Kelly.
I guess I should, yeah. I guess I should. That's a good idea. Maybe I can do that sometime this week. I'm teaching my last night class on Wednesday, and my Friday class just has a workshop, final exam study session on Friday. So, yeah, so maybe I can do that toward the end of the week. So anyway, yeah, my one project that's actively on the needles it's not giving me joy.
Yeah.
The color's nice, but the rest of it is not really giving me joy. So, and then, but I have been spinning, and the spinning is great, but I've reached a stopping point. So I finished plying the Fleber Farms Tasmanian comeback that I was working on last episode. And it's orange, called Pumpkin Spice. And the fiber is actually, I think, a light brown color. And then the red-orange dye is over-dyeing that light brown color. From what I can tell, from what I could tell while I was spinning it, that's what it looked like. I got 210 yards. And it was actually more than 100 grams. It was about 130 grams. So 210 yards from 130 grams sounds like a pretty chunky spin. But it really, when I look at it, it looks like a worsted weight. It's not super consistent. There's some, there's some thicker than worsted and some thinner than worsted, but I think it's one of those, how long wools are just heavier, like the hair is heavier, denser, and I think that's why it took 129 grams to get the 210 yards. I think the weight of it is more like what I was going for, which was DK to worsted weight. So anyway, I usually use the weight of the skein and the yardage to identify like what's the size of the yarn. I don't typically do wraps per inch and measure unless I'm weaving. But anyway, I just noticed it's like, that's a lot of weight for that yardage.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but it is pretty. I washed it. It washed up nicely. But my really fun project that I've been working on that I hadn't even started when we did our last episode, I got inspired. I dug around in the garage and I found, well, I knew they were there. It's not like I discovered this. My stash is not that bad. I do know what's there. So I dug around and I uncovered, because it was in a pile, 2 boxes, paper, the boxes that reams of paper come in. I snatched them at school when there's an empty box by the copy machine. I'll usually take it home. And so I had 2 of those boxes full of carded bats.
Oh,
nice. Of a
nice.
brown Targhee lamb. And I got this fleece. Remember the year you came down for the first year you came down for the fleece auction?
Yeah.
We were just like a year into podcasting. And I bought this fleece that year. It was one that wasn't selling. I think it was one that wasn't selling, and it was a lamb fleece. And it's like, ooh, I haven't ever had a lamb fleece before. I have to buy this. So I did.
I remember that trip too, because we spread them all out in the driveway. But do you remember Robert wanted to buy, like, he got caught up in, didn't Robert buy one?
He bought a fleece, yeah.
He got caught up in the bidding.
Yeah.
He wanted to, and of course, as soon as anybody who was not a guild member started bidding, the guild members stopped bidding.
Right. They're like, oh, thank God, I don't have to buy that one.
Yeah.
Unless it's one people really want, and then there can be a bidding war. So,
yeah.
But this lamb fleece it's really nice. It's kind of a leather brown color. And it had tips, like the baby fleece tips on it, which is not that great. They were really light, really sun bleached, and they were also kind of fragile. So I do have some little neps in the fleece that I've been picking out as I go. Really light parts that are in little balls that I have to pick out, but it's not bad. I mean, there's not a lot of it. There is some, and it's the other thing I noticed about this yarn. Not only are the tips of the fleece sun bleached, but when I first spun this yarn, I spun a little bit as a sample, and I had it sitting in the sunroom, and it really sun bleached like fast. And then Judith McKenzie was talking in one of the fleece auctions that I was at Black Sheep. I think it was at Black Sheep. She was talking about sun bleached tips on a fleece, and that they can sometimes be an indication that even the wool will sun bleach it has more of a tendency to sun bleach, and that your garment will not be, the color of your garment will not be as light fast as you might want it to be, which I thought was interesting. So this will definitely be that way, because the yarn that was the singles that were on my bobbin when I sampled, and they said, I mean, not to say they didn't sit on the bobbin for a while, they definitely did, but you could really tell that they had sun bleached in that amount of time. So yeah, I got it back out. I hadn't really enjoyed the spinning of this, or hadn't really liked the sample that I made, but I decided to spin long draw, and so that has made a much nicer. It's made it a much nicer yarn, I think. It's kind of more what the yarn wants to be. So it's nice and fluffy. I'm doing a 3-ply. I've got about a little over 1,000 yards spun so far, and now I'm out of bats.
Okay,
so another project that's at a turning point. So I have to card more bats. I have plenty more fleece, so I'll card more bats, and then I'm thinking of doing the Grandpa cardigan by Holey Comfort. It's a cabled cardigan with it has a small shawl collar, and I might want to make that shawl collar a little bit deeper. But that's the one I'm thinking about. I looked through my patterns in my pattern library and saw that I've had that in there for a little while and haven't done anything with it, and is the right weight. So I'm spinning it up. It's coming out to be a DK to a worsted weight, and I've been really enjoying. So I'm going to have to get some more bats carded up so I can continue with that project.
I have to look this up while we're talking.
I'm
sorry, what's the name of it again? Grandpa?
The Grandpa cardigan.
Again? Oh yeah, here it is.
Kind of long.
Oh, that's good looking.
Yeah, I like it. It's kind of a hip length.
Has nice patterns. Yeah, that's nice.
Has ribbing at the bottom. There's one pattern on the project page that has a little bit of a contrast where you pick up the ribbing, a little bit of a contrast color, and I kind of like that.
Yeah. This would be nice. This is very nice. The collar's nice, but I can see where you might want a little bit deeper collar.
Yeah, I really like a shawl collar. In fact, I have a search on my Ravelry page, where you can save your searches, where I always get notified if somebody puts a shawl collar into the pattern pages, because I really like a shawl collar, but this is a skimpy one. I think it's a skimpy one. I like it to be deeper, fold over and go a little bit, a tiny bit down your back. Honestly, having it have the smaller collar makes it more modern looking. I think, gives it a more...
But it is a grandpa cardigan.
Yeah.
So...
I know. And then, my funky grandpa cardigan doesn't have a collar at all. It just has, the button band going around. So, I think I'll make that shawl collar a little bit deeper. But otherwise, I really like the pattern. The other one that I'm considering is called Que Sera by Kirsten Kapoor. And it's an older pattern, and it's all over lace. But it's not a super lacy. It's not a super lacy lace. It's more like a textury.
Oh, that's cute.
Lace. So I like that one too. But I'm leaning towards the grandpa cardigan, I think. But I might make the Que Sera out of some other yarn. We'll see.
Okay.
But yeah, so those are my projects and my plans. Not much.
Okay.
Kind of slim pickings. But that's the time of the semester. I always I bet if you listened to the mid to late May episode of the last 5 years of podcasts, you're going to hear me saying, I need to cast on projects. I want to cast on projects. I can't cast on projects. I have really nothing to work on.
Well, you've got too much going on right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's normally, normally it's a difficult time of year, or a busy time of year. This is even more challenging this time, this go around.
Yeah.
So
I am starting to feel like I've gotten sort of a rhythm, which is good. I've gotten into sort of the rhythm of it, but I'm ready to be done with this. Oh, I'm always ready to be done with the semester. That has nothing to do with the COVID-19 virus and teaching online. I'm just done for the semester. I'm ready to be finished. I need a break. Yeah. So, looking forward to being able to cast on all the things.
And garden and bees and etc.
Yeah.
And dog. So, my project. So, I have cast on the Summer Fjord, and that's Trin-Annelie. And is that how you pronounce it, Kelly?
I do not know.
Okay. And I'm using the Quince & Co. Sparrow. I've got 3 colors, kind of a blue, a gold, and a white. So the blue is the main color, and then the white and gold are the contrasting colors. And we had to have a conversation last night, correct? Because, it's a top down, and so you cast on for the back, then you put those stitches on hold, and you pick up, I think it was the left front that you pick up, and you have to do short rows, and then you have to cast on, and you have to do all this stuff, and then you have to then put those stitches on hold and do that on the right side. But we've had this conversation many times in the podcast about how you read something, but then you're not sure you're reading it right.
Yeah.
And I actually missed an entire section, so I had to rip back, re-knit the section not re-knit, but just knit the section that I had missed. And then I started questioning myself over the next step, and I had to call you last night. I sent you a picture of what I was reading. We had to have that discussion about where the comma's placed. Is the number 2 before cast on or after cast? Where the wording is and everything is like, whatever you say.
So we needed to diagram the sentence.
Yes. So I kind of had been on hold for a couple of days because I was trying to figure it out. And so now I'm back on track, and I picked up last night, and I have finished the right front this morning. I finished it. So I'm ready now to join the front, and I knit for a little bit. So then the front and back match, and then I will join that in the round and keep knitting down. So
yeah, the construction of this pattern, I really like the way it looks. When it, I really liked the effect that I got, but the construction of this pattern it was just odd to me. And I remember saying that when I made it, like, I'm not sure if it's just because it's not a construction, I haven't made that many different construction sweaters, and it's just not a construction I was familiar with, or if it really was an odd construction. But instead of like casting on the neck and working down, which is kind of what I think other sweaters do, or what I'm familiar with, you just cast on a circle and knit down.
Well, I think it doesn't do... Yeah, well, go ahead.
Well, it's like first you knit the back, and then you... And it's flat. And then you knit and then you, from that flat back, you add on the left and right fronts. And anyway, and you like increase and increase until you've got the whole front. It's just, it was weird.
Well, and I think the reason why you don't do like the construction of the Edie, you actually knit it flat and then join it in the front.
Yeah.
But, because it's like a V, as I recall. But it's a raglan sleeve.
Right.
Construction. And this one is not. It actually has sort of a seam going across the top of the shoulder. And then it's just flat on the front and flat on the back. There's no... And I think that's why the construction is the way it is.
And I remember being worried about the seam on the top of the shoulder. Like where you pick up stitches. I remember being worried about that when I made the first one. But it actually looked nice. I was thinking, should I do this as provisional instead? But I couldn't understand the pattern well enough to figure out what should be provisional. If I was going to do a provisional cast on, like, are these the stitches that I'm going to be picking up later? I didn't know that when I first made it. So, but I really like this pattern, and I like that it's drop sleeve, and I guess that's part of it. It's like the sleeve the sleeve and the front and the back are all like one. They all blend into one piece that then drops down over your shoulder.
Yeah.
Anyway, I like this sweater a lot. It's a very cute.
Well, and I'm excited too because I've not done a t-shirt with color. They've all been, I've made 4 now, 5, I don't know. They're all just been one color. So I'm kind of excited to make the stripes. Yeah. And you are going to make the stripes as per pattern, right? Yeah. Because mine I did in the gold linen, and it was just texture. I did all the texture stitches as the pattern, but I didn't switch any colors. And then the one I'm going to cast on is going to be the same way. It doesn't have, although I have other colors not of Sparrow, but other linen. I could probably put stripes in if I wanted, but I don't think I will. I think I'm going to do another plain colored one. I bought the yarn for that, with that in mind. This has nothing to do with anything what I'm about to say, but at the knitters retreat one time.
Mm-hmm.
One of the knitters that shows up every year, nice woman, really like her. I remember once she said that she doesn't trust anybody that doesn't like stripes.
That's good.
I know. Do you feel this? That's funny. So maybe that's why I need to make a top with stripes so that I'm being trusted. I don't know.
You have to make sure you're projecting your trustworthiness.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'm making progress on that, and then I also have been working on the Arne and Carlos sock that I'm making for my brother, and I have turned the heel, and I'm probably halfway down the foot of the first sock.
I have to look at these. Oh, it's the yarn. Okay. Arne and Carlos yarn.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought, they have a
It's not the pattern.
They have a pattern for socks? And
No,
it doesn't have all those Norwegian patterns in it? Okay, I get it.
No, I'm using, this is the pattern that it's a recipe, and I've talked about this before, but it's by Nancy Lindberg, and it just says NL7 knit to fit socks.
Okay.
And it's just a recipe,
and
and that's the one I follow.
And it's the printed yarn, right? Is that self-patterning yarn? Nice.
Yeah. And I have to say, I'm looking at my photograph I took that I posted on Ravelry, and that really does not do the colors justice. They are not that subtle in that picture.
Well, and the picture doesn't actually look subtle, so okay.
No, I know. It's like they're not that subtle. So anyway.
So like blaze orange and blue and
yeah. I'll have to
Nice.
take a better picture that's more
Perfect socks for Mark.
accurate. Oh yeah, because he loves really bright socks. Okay, so I'm making progress on that, and then I have been working on and off on that Simple Shawl by Jane Hunter, but it's kind of taken a back burner, honestly. And then I haven't cast on yet. As we're recording, I'm swatching with Elemental Affects Cormo in the color is Star Coral, and I think I'm going to make Holey Comfort by Hinterm Stein.
That's a nice one. I like that one. Of the two that you talked about last time, I like that one better. Yeah. So
I'm not happy about this. Is that I'm casting on my swatch is with 3s.
Oh, you're going to be knitting for a while.
I'm hoping that, so it says, the pattern says, to get the gauge with either 3 or 4s. I'm hoping I'm going to get gauge with 4, but I'm starting with 3, but I'm hoping it'll be 4.
Welcome to my world. Sometimes I just think to myself, why isn't it that all the sweaters that I like require size 3 needles? Mm-hmm. But my next sweater is going to be faster and bulkier. If I do that grandpa cardigan, that will be faster than size 3s.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
And then I am thinking about spinning though, because we're going to have we'll talk about this later, but our summer spin-in will start Memorial Day, which is in the U.S. That's May 25th. So I have, we won't talk too in depth about how much stash I have of roving, but I have a little bit of roving. So I've been thinking, pulling out, putting together, thinking, putting back in the cupboard, thinking about what I'm going to spin. So that's the other thing. I'm going to start a spinning project soon, on the 25th. So
good.
I don't think it's going to be as big as like a combo spin, that big, but I think I'm just going to spin a braid or a couple of braids.
Spin for some things that you can maybe knit right away.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I've been enjoying. I mean, I'm not enjoying the yarn that I'm knitting with in these socks, but I am happy to be knitting some handspun socks, and knitting with my handspun. And I've been looking at my handspun and seeing, okay, is there something else in there that I want to, dig out and like make a hat or, just make a small project with one of my single skeins of handspun, or can I put a bunch of them together into something? I've got 3 that are similar colors that I've been kind of thinking, what could I do with these 3 if I put them all together? So
Yeah. And I have some that are similar that I don't, as I say, I don't want to do another, well, I have plans for another combo spin, but I have just a couple of braids that I just want to, they kind of go to, as you said, they go together. I was thinking maybe I'll just like spin them separately and then ply them together. Just a 2-ply is what I don't know.
yeah.
I have thoughts, but
Marsha has thoughts.
Anyway,
good.
but that's it for me on projects.
All right.
So Kelly, a couple things. We just want to thank a few people. On the podcast reviews, we have 2 new reviews, and so just
yay!
Yeah, I know, very nice. So I just want to say thank you first to Winifred5, who said, "I look forward to the podcast every 2 weeks. It's fun. Thanks for your hard work." Is it hard work, Kelly? I don't think so. It's fun.
No,
isn't it? Like,
it's fun. I mean, it can be time consuming. The editing, can be time consuming, but
thanks for thinking that we're working hard.
No, it's anything you do that you like doesn't feel like hard work. I think. Or it feels like hard work well done or something. When you finish a fun
so
project.
Thank you for that comment. That was really nice. And then we also had a nice comment from Grable, who said, "Just wanted to pop in and say that the 2Us are one of my favorite podcasts. Whether it's knitting, spinning, or fibery stuff, or dog and bee adventures, it's all great. Love it." So thank you. That's very nice. So, as they should just
really
pop
nice.
in and say that.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
So we also just have to talk to, we have a a contest going on right now, and it's the Show Us Your Pattern.
This has been so fun to look at.
I know. So we have a thread open, and just go ahead and post a picture of your pattern and any condition that it's in. We're curious to see what our patterns look like and what your notes look like on the pattern. We did say don't post so much of the pattern that someone could actually just knit something with that pattern because of copyright rules and respect for the designers. But just show us your pattern, and the contest closes June 4th. And Kelly, do you want to talk about what the prizes are going to be?
Yeah. So we have some beautiful skeins, and you can see them in the prize thread. Some beautiful skeins of worsted weight that were sent to us by Laura of Duran Dye Works. She sent one on for free, and I purchased the others. But she was having a great sale, so it was almost like a steal. It will be winner's choice of those skeins. So first we'll go ahead and when we draw, we'll identify if we draw more than one, we'll identify the order of who gets to choose first for these skeins. So anyway, it's been a real fun thread to look at and to see what people's the state of their patterns.
Well, and I have to say, I've been doing a lot of cleaning, and I found in my deep dive into the chaos of the 2 houses that I'm cleaning, I found plastic sleeves to put my patterns in.
Oh,
so
nice.
I think I put the pattern for the Holey Comfort, I put it in a plastic sleeve.
Upscale,
so I'm going
Marsha.
to try and change my ways.
Okay.
And instead of having a crumpled pattern, I'm going to try and keep it in a sleeve. We'll see how I do.
Okay. All right. That sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, we also have a summer spin-in coming along, and Marsha already mentioned that it starts on Memorial Day. I wanted to also add, right now there's a thread that was kind of the planning for it. Holly had posted originally saying, "Hey, what about doing this?" And then there's been a lot of talk. So I'm going to be posting a thread this week that will just be the chat thread for the summer spin-in, and then we'll also have finished object threads. And I'm going to put up 2 finished objects threads because there was a suggestion, and I thought this was a good one, that we could include knitting with your handspun or crocheting, actually using your handspun or using handspun, not necessarily your own. so that people who are not spinners might want to partake of the joy of using handspun yarn. And so,
that's a great idea. Yeah.
Because Marsha, we're all about enticing people
Right.
into new adventures. And if you knit with something handspun, you might just catch the bug.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah.
You never know. I'm looking at you, Stella. So anyway, I thought that was a very good suggestion. And so we'll have two finished object threads, one for finished skeins and the other one for finished projects knit with handspun. So if people are very ambitious, they could spin the handspun and put it in the finished object thread for the spinning, and then knit with the handspun and put that same handspun into the finished object thread for the knitting, or for the using the handspun.
Yeah.
And then others of us are going to do more longer term projects that involve large quantities of spun yarn. Like mine is, I think, 1,500 yards. Is what I started early, but the project that I'm working on right now is going to require 1,500 yards. So yeah. All right, anything else we need to say about the summer spin in?
No, I don't think so. Just have fun.
Yeah.
Start spinning.
And then speaking of spin in, weave alongs and prizes, I just wanted to put out a shout to Sunshine Dee Diane. You were the winner of the winter weave along, and just in case you happen to be listening to this episode but you missed the episode where we mentioned your name, I wanted to give you a shout out. Get in touch with me, Diane, and I can get you your winter weave along prize. And if you want to listen to the episode where you actually won, that's episode 134.
Okay. All right. And then Kelly, I think that's the only business we have, but you mentioned dog training. So what's going on?
So the dog training class, the one that we signed up for, included, one of the things that it had in there was shaping, which is basically, and I had done some of this, but the basic idea of it, and there's a really good video I'll put in the show notes of this woman who's just kind of amazing. And her dog already knows that the idea is to offer behaviors like try stuff and see if that's the thing that's going to get him a reward. Because they have to kind of learn that first. The dogs that I have trained over the years, I've not ever really used this technique. I've done more like, get them to do the thing, like get them to sit and then say good, as opposed to just wait for something to happen. Oh. So I... with Bailey, I decided to try this, and so I did a shaping of putting her front feet onto like a towel, something that feels different than the flooring where she is. And so I started by using one of those like kickboards, the swimming kickboards, and I use it for gardening. And I started using that. And then I had something else I was using. But anyway, you just kind of wait till they accidentally put their foot on it. Or, you can kind of move around until they accidentally put their foot on it. And then you either, I don't use a clicker, but you can click or you say good and you give them a treat. So we started doing this and I thought, this isn't working. This is just, I'm like, she's just like accidentally putting her foot there and she has no idea why she's getting this treat. And then all of a sudden, I started noticing, okay, she's really doing this pretty often, even though it looks accidental. Like, it looks like she's not paying any attention to where her feet are. But, they suddenly start being on this board more and more. Like, maybe that's not accidental. And then it got so that she would put her foot on, and then she would, like, if I wasn't fast enough, she'd like raise her foot and like stomp it onto the thing. Like, look, here's my foot. So now I have this behavior where I put down, and it could be a really small thing, like a paperback book even. Last night I used 2 squares of toilet paper and I put it on the floor, and as soon as I put it down, she's like, boom, her front feet are just right on that thing. And I've started saying toes when she does that. So she puts her toes on something. Because right now it doesn't have a word attached to it. She just knows if I put something down on the ground and we're in a training session, that's what she's supposed to do. So that's been pretty fun. And then it was very interesting, because I thought when I first started trying it, I was like, okay, she does not have any clue what she's doing to get this treat. She's just totally focused on the treats. It's distracting her. It's like the treat is taking away her attention from the fact that she's got her feet on this thing, and it really wasn't the case. She was learning and figuring it out in a way that I couldn't see the wheels turning. And then I started trying to get her to put her back feet on something, and then I was like, okay, what do I do? Because now she only thinks it's her front feet. And so I wasn't sure how I was going to do it. And I actually even messaged Kathy Straight Fork, because she does agility training and has done some workshops and stuff. And I thought, well, maybe she would know. Like, how's the dog supposed to know whether I want the front feet on the thing or the back feet on the thing? So what I came up with was that I decided to use a pillow, like a bed pillow. It's like the pillow with the pillow sham on it. So it's big and squishy and definitely different from what I was using for the front feet. And of course she tried putting her front feet on it, and I would kind of move around till she would accidentally put her back feet. And again, I was first thinking, okay, this is not working, because she only thinks I'm crazy, because why am I not giving her a treat when her front feet are on this? But she's now putting her back feet fairly consistently on this pillow.
And what's the word you're using to say?
I'm not using a word for this yet.
Oh, okay.
So you wait until you've got the behavior happening super solidly before you start putting a word to it.
Okay.
So I don't know what word I'm going to use.
So my what I want to ask you though is, she still knows toes though, to put her front feet on something. So
I'm not sure she knows the word toes.
Okay.
But she knows if I put down something really small and kind of flat, well, not like a pillow, to put her front feet on it.
Okay. But she should though eventually know the difference between front feet and hind feet.
Yes. Yeah, that's
or
the
then
idea.
Eventually maybe both feet.
Yeah.
Not both feet, all 4 feet, I should say.
Right. That would be a different thing that I would teach her.
But just by teaching her the back feet or paws doesn't mean she's going to forget the front feet.
Right.
Yeah.
And she hasn't, because I've done it. But I decided to use something totally different that I hadn't used for her to put her front feet on, a bed pillow. And then also to start putting the word with the front feet, so that I could make the back feet seem more different. Yeah. It was hard for her to figure out, and she still hasn't quite figured it out, but it was hard for her at first. You can tell when she doesn't know, like, okay, I know you want me to do something, but I don't know what you want me to do, so I'm going to go look out the window. Or I'm going to race around the room looking for toys. Or, you can tell when she's like, I don't know what you want. You're not telling me what you want. I don't know. Because she gets sort of, she gets a little frustrated. Or I don't know if I would use the word frustrated, but like, I'm going to go do something else. You're not fun.
Perplexed. Like,
yeah.
You're not making any sense, so I'm going to go over and do this.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So anyway, but I'll put the video in the show notes of this dog, this woman shaping this behavior of her dog putting all 4 feet in a box. Like getting into a box. And it goes from the dog not knowing what she wants it to do with the box to the dog knowing for sure that what it's supposed to do is put all its 4 feet in the box. It's pretty amazing. And again, this particular dog has a lot of experience with this kind of thing, like throwing behaviors out there till it finds one that gets the reward. And I'm, the average person training would not get this kind of thing that fast from their dog, I don't think. You have to have a dog that knows the game. Right? Knows that the game is try stuff till I feed you. and then that starts to tell them what you want. But anyway, it was really fun. I enjoyed it. I'm going to do more of this kind of stuff for little tricks. Yeah, it was interesting. Very interesting exercise. So
yeah. You can use this technique for teaching, perhaps. Not dogs, but young adults.
I can toss hot dogs. Toss little dried out pieces of hot dog when they do something I like. Just stand there and wait till they do something I like, and then toss a little dried out piece of hot dog. No, it is true. It is true that the things I've learned over the years about dog training have had a lot of application to my teaching. Not that quite that literally, but they have had application to my teaching. So,
yeah. All right.
Okay.
Well, I think that's it. We'll be back in 2 weeks.
All right. Yes. It will be summer vacation.
Alrighty. Bye.
All right. Bye. Thank you so much for listening. To subscribe to the podcast, visit 2usfiberadventures.com.
Join us on our adventures on Ravelry and Instagram. I am Better in Motion, and Kelly is 100 Projects.
Until next time, we're the 2Us
doing our part for World Fleece.